Welcome back to the UPMC Health Plan and UPMC Hammett Intermission Report. It is Children's Grief Awareness Day, and I am so humbled and honored to be joined by Highmark Caring Place's very own program manager, Kristie Nosich. Kristie, thank you so much for your time. Before we begin, can you tell us just a little bit about the work that is done by Highmark Caring Place? Because I know we talked about it earlier, but I know the first time that I went to the Caring Place, I couldn't help but tear up about the powerful stories that you guys tell and, you know, the work that you do for so many in need.
Oh, thanks, Shawn. It's great to be here, and thank you for taking time to be here. You know, Highmark Caring Place has been in Erie now for 20 years. This is our 20th year. And we have had many families come through our doors that are grieving the loss of somebody who has died. Death is one of those things that people are uncomfortable talking about, right? It's scary. People don't know what to say. And after a funeral, everyone else's lives go on except for the family who has been touched by that death. And so what we do at the Caring Place is we bring families together, children to meet other children, adults to meet other adults, families to meet other families, so that they realize they're not alone in this world and that hope can go on after that death.
So let's talk about the day itself. Today is Children's Grief Awareness Day. Let's talk about the history of the day. How did it start?
Yeah, what's so cool about it is that it actually started here in Erie, PA.
Wow.
And yeah, so it was elementary school kids, believe it or not, who said to us one day, like, you have epilepsy awareness and you have breast cancer awareness, which are all fabulous causes, of course. But what these children said to us is, why don't you ever recognize children who have had someone in their life die? So this came from elementary school kids. And, you know, we came back and we talked about it and said, why don't we do that? And so it started here in Erie. It grew to across Pennsylvania. And now it has grown so far, it is international. And it is always the Thursday before Thanksgiving, because obviously we know that grief is all year round, but during the holidays, it can be a little extra difficult. And so that's why we recognize it right before the holidays start. It's always that Thursday right before Thanksgiving.
Well, it's been a very busy day for Children's Grief Awareness Day. I saw it was the second annual virtual Children's Grief Awareness Day today. What kind of things did you guys do throughout the course of the day virtually for Children's Grief Awareness?
Yeah, well, virtual started last year because of COVID. Typically, prior to that, we were out in the community so much more. We opened our doors to families, to volunteers, to community members, and welcomed them to come to the Caring Place and honor those children through our sites. But last year, we had to be a little more creative. And so what we did was we started something virtually. And we connected with grief organizations, partners, really great people who found this as a cause for them that they wanted to support. And so throughout the day, we have activities for children. We have a webinar for professionals. This year, we have a story from a Holocaust survivor who's 94 years old. And so it will be going on all day long. Everything is going to be recorded. So even if you missed it today, you can go back and look at all of the things and re-look at it and watch it with your family.
What is the importance of being able to, I guess, destigmatize grief and, you know, be able to teach the grieving process and the healthy side of being able to cope, especially to children?
Yeah, you know, like I said, grief is something people don't want to talk about, and it makes them uncomfortable. And so for so many times, the other thing that happens is children are grieving very differently than adults. What adults think is, oh, my kids are doing fine. The kids are fine. They're not talking about it. But what they don't recognize is they're just grieving very differently than you. And so what we try to take that stigma away, that, you know what, it's okay to talk to our kids. People are afraid they're going to make others cry. But the bottom line is they're sad. Someone in their life has died, and they need to talk about that person, to remember that person. And their grief needs to be acknowledged. And our theme this year is, it's okay to not be okay. And that's kind of where we're going. Like, if you're not okay and you're sad, it's okay.
Let's talk about the Wear Blue initiative of Children's Grief Awareness Day. Why the color blue, and how did you kind of promote that throughout the course of the day?
The reason we decided to choose blue is we asked the kids, when you think about grief and you think about the feelings around grief, they talked about sad and anger and frustration and how that feels with them. And so when we asked them what color made sense, they said blue. And so again, we went with it. Let's listen to the children. Let's hear what they have to say. And so we went with blue, and that turned into our blue butterfly. And blue butterflies are really a signal of hope, right? They're a sign that hope can go on. And that's why we have that blue butterfly. And her name is Hope.
I love that. I love that. And I know it's not intentional, but here at the game tonight, we are wearing our blue jerseys. So that, I think, is that's a perfect compliment to the great work that you guys have done all day today. I want to talk about that too. Obviously, one of the big fundraisers every year for Highmark Caring Place is the Merrill Hodge Golf Tournament. Being able to work with, especially sports organizations like the Pittsburgh Steelers, the Pittsburgh Penguins, and right here in Erie, the Erie Otters, what can that do to be able to continue to push the message of grief and grief awareness?
Let's talk about that. Children and even adults have idols, right? They look up to their idols. They look up to sports figures. And just as you said, when you came to the Caring Place, it touched your heart. And we've had Otters players, we have had Pittsburgh Steelers, and we've had Penguins, and we've had the Pirates come down. And when you see these big guys coming through the Caring Place and their hearts are touched as well, they realize wow, this is really impactful. And they realize that these kids are looking up to them. And so how important is it for them to give the message to these children that I'm thinking about you. I know that it's hard when someone has died. And, we've had people come down who can relate as grown men who have had someone in their life die as a child. And that really impacts them when they think about the grief.
Obviously, coping and grief are two things that happen year round, around the clock. What other resources do you have available, either in person or virtually, for families, and especially families with children that are grieving around the holidays and going into the new year?
We always tell people, call us, right? Give us a call at the Caring Place. We are currently back in the building, so we are happy to be back. We are bringing families back to us to be in the support groups. But in the meantime, we're still keeping with the virtual groups because we know that when COVID was happening, we went virtual, and some of our families told us that that worked really well for them. So we're not getting rid of it. So we have our virtual support, we have our in-person support, we also have young adult support. And if that doesn't help people who call us, we are aware of community supports that are out there, whether it's other support groups or therapists are out there. So if you know someone who's grieving or you're a grieving person, give us a call because we can help you in some way.
And I think something that was so powerful for me when I went there and talked with Connor Dawley over at Highmark Caring Place Erie was that all of your programs are completely free. I think that's something so powerful.
It is, yes. It doesn't matter the insurance, which is sometimes a misconception that you have to have Highmark insurance, but we are funded by Highmark, which is amazing. They give us all the funding for us to be able to run this program. They see a need in the community and they don't want insurance to be a problem, and they don't want cost to be a problem. So we're able to offer every program that we do. Trainings, consultations, support groups is completely free to everyone in the community.
Well, Kristie, before we let you go here tonight and let you finish off Children's Grief Awareness Day today, I want to have you kind of tell the story on the logo of the butterfly coming out of the heart, because I think that's something that's really powerful too.
Yeah, so clearly that made an impact on you. So right when the Caring Place started, we had a little boy who came to the Caring Place because his brother died, and he drew a broken heart. And in the crack of that broken heart, he put his brother's name in there. And when a volunteer asked him about it, he said, "My heart's broken because my brother died." And as he was coming through our groups later on that evening, he drew a butterfly. And as we talked about earlier, a butterfly is a sign of hope. And this was a little 8-9-year-old boy who got this. And he said, now that I've been coming to the Caring Place, I have hope that my heart is not always going to hurt so much. And what an impact that the Caring Place made on him. But for a little guy to recognize that and to put it in such wonderful words with a beautiful picture, that is how our logo was developed, the broken heart with the butterfly.
That's just so powerful. Kristie Nosich, again, program manager at Highmark Caring Place. Thank you so much for all the work that you do. It was an honor for the Otters to be just a small part of everything that you guys did here today. I know we're working with Connor too to have so much more activity as the year goes on and the season goes on, to be able to have players out and interact with the children at the Highmark Caring Place. But thank you so much for joining me here tonight.
Thank you, Shawn, and thank you to the Erie Otters for all of your support. Go Otters!